A woman walks into a room. Heads turn, whispers begin. Some look confused, others roll their eyes, a few even smirk. But she's not shaken, because she didn't wear the hijab for them. She wore it for Allah alone. And when you do something solely for Allah, everything changes. Suddenly, rejection becomes protection, and judgment turns into elevation, because Allah sees her, even when the world looks away. When a woman chooses to wear the hijab only for Allah, something shifts. Not in the world, but in her soul. Suddenly, she begins to feel the weight of stares, the silence of old friends, and the distance of people who once claimed to love her. But what they don't realize is, she's gaining someone far greater. She's gaining the closeness of her Creator. It's painful at first. The friends who once laughed with her begin to fade. The compliments stop. The invitations slow down. She might even be labeled as extreme or backward, but she reminds herself, I didn't come this far for them. I came for Allah, and He never walks away from those who walk toward Him. This is when something amazing happens. Her heart, though cracked by rejection, starts to heal in a new way. The peace she finds in sujood replaces the laughter of gatherings. The tears she sheds in tahajjud feel more comforting than the loud parties she left behind. The void they left behind? Allah filled it with tranquility. Allah draws near. Her du'as start to feel personal. Her iman rises. Her heart begins to crave the silence of worship more than the noise of attention. And though the world may keep turning its back, she feels more seen than ever, seen by the one who matters most. Yes, the world may turn away when you choose Allah, but it's in that very moment that you begin to experience something this world can't offer: divine friendship. And in the eyes of Allah, this sacrifice is never wasted. Every moment of pain, every lonely walk, every ignored message, it all becomes reward. Not just in Jannah, but in this dunya too. So if you're struggling with the way people treat you after wearing hijab, know this: you're not losing. You're being pulled away from noise, into the company of the most merciful. Because when the world turns away, Allah turns closer. When a woman wears the hijab for Allah, she's no longer defined by society's shallow standards. She's no longer just a face, a hairstyle, or a fashion trend. Her identity becomes deeper, rooted in faith, dignity, and submission to her Creator. And once that shift happens, no insult, no stare, and no judgment can break her. The world constantly tells women, you're not enough, not skinny enough, not trendy enough, not bold enough. But the woman who wears hijab for Allah hears something else. She hears, you are exactly who I created you to be. And when you accept yourself through Allah's eyes, no one else's opinion matters. Hijab doesn't erase your identity. It protects it. It shields you from becoming another product in a world that profits from insecurity. It reminds you daily, I am more than what people see. And that message, it's powerful. It's revolutionary. It's untouchable. When you wear the hijab for Allah alone, you no longer need validation. You stop asking, do they think I'm pretty? And start asking, is Allah pleased with me? And that switch in mindset changes everything. You begin to live for purpose, not popularity. Even when the world mocks you, tries to reduce you, or make you feel like you're missing out, your hijab becomes your silent reply. I already know who I am. You become unshakable. Because you're not dressing to please the eyes of creation. You're dressing to honor the command of the Creator. That's the power of wearing hijab for Allah. Your value is no longer up for debate. Your identity is sealed in something divine. And once Allah honors you, no one can take that honor away. You are covered, you are confident, and you are completely untouchable. When a woman wears the hijab with sincerity, not for trends, not for culture, not for approval, but purely for Allah, something beautiful begins to happen. A kind of nur enters her life. It doesn't come from highlighters or filters. It's the light of obedience, the light of barakah. And that light settles first, not on her face, but in her heart. This nur cannot be faked. It's not bought from any store. It's a light Allah gives to those who choose Him over the world. Her eyes begin to carry peace. Her smile feels sincere. Her presence brings calm. Even if she says nothing, people feel something when she enters. That's not just her. That's Allah's light shining through her. Even on days when she feels tired, unseen, or insecure, this light doesn't fade, because it was never from the dunya to begin with. It came from sajda, from the verses she whispered in the dark, from the tears she shed when no one else was watching. It's the light of a soul connected to its Lord. And yes, sometimes she may feel ordinary. She may look in the mirror and not see what magazines call perfect. But when Allah places Noor on someone's face, it's a beauty no camera can fully capture. It's the kind of beauty that angels recognize. It's the beauty that echoes in the heavens. This light begins to touch others too. Her calmness soothes hearts. Her words heal. Her smile reminds people of peace. She becomes a reflection of what it means to be near to Allah. And it all started the day she chose to cover herself, not to impress the world, but to obey the one who created her. So the next time someone asks, "Why do you wear hijab?" Smile. Because the answer is simple. For Allah, and because it brings light to my heart and light to my face. And remember, what Allah beautifies, no one can diminish. One of the most beautiful things about wearing the hijab for the sake of Allah is that it turns you into a silent ambassador of Islam. Without speaking a single word, you represent faith, modesty, strength, and submission. Your presence itself becomes a message. A powerful reminder that Islam is alive, dignified, and unshakable. When you walk through a marketplace, sit in a classroom, or stand in line somewhere, your hijab tells a story. It speaks of devotion. It says, "This woman belongs to Allah." And in a world that's constantly shouting for attention, your quiet dignity becomes the loudest message. People begin to notice. Not because you're showing off, but because you've chosen a path that's different, bold, and beautiful. You may never know whose heart is moved by your choice. A girl struggling with her iman might see you and think, "If she can do it, so can I." A non-Muslim might see you and feel curiosity, then end up reading about Islam. A Muslim brother might see you and lower his gaze, feeling reminded of his own duty. All of that from your one act of obedience. That's the power of hijab. It makes you part of something much bigger than yourself. You become a living proof that Islam still lives in hearts, that faith still matters, and that submission to Allah is not just in theory, but visible in practice. You carry the flag of this deen with grace, without ever needing to raise your voice. And the beauty is, you don't need to be a scholar. You don't need thousands of followers. You don't even need perfect words. All you need is sincerity. Your simple walk, your smile, your respectful behavior. It all becomes a form of dawah, because people are watching and hearts recognize sincerity even when the tongue is silent. Yes, there will be challenges. You may be judged. You may face ignorance. But even those moments can turn into dawah. When you respond to hate with calm, when you choose patience over anger, when you represent Islam with grace, your character becomes a silent teacher. And sometimes, that kind of dawah is more powerful than lectures. Remember, you don't wear hijab just for yourself. You wear it for every little girl watching, every sister struggling, every person seeking truth. You become a light in a dark world. And your reward? It grows every time someone is moved by your example, even if you never hear about it. So walk with purpose. Live with honor. Let your hijab speak, not just about modesty, but about who you live for. Because you may be silent, but your obedience echoes louder than any speech. You, dear sister, are a walking dawah, and that's one of the highest honors Allah can give. The moment you choose to wear the hijab, sincerely, for the sake of Allah, a new chapter in your life begins. But it's not always easy. In fact, it often gets harder before it gets better. People may look at you differently. Friends may drift away. You might face comments, stares, or even judgment. And in those moments, it's easy to feel alone, to question your decision, to wonder, why does it feel like the test increased the moment I tried to get closer to Allah? But that's the beauty of it. Tests are not punishments. They are signs that Allah is refining you, elevating you, and preparing you for something greater. When you wear the hijab, you don't just wear a piece of cloth, you wear a symbol of submission. And that kind of submission shakes the foundations of a world that worships appearance over obedience. That's why the tests come. Allah never said the path to Jannah would be easy, but He promised it would be worth it. And He also promised that for every hardship you endure for His sake, there's a reward waiting, far greater than anything this world can offer. Every uncomfortable glance, every sacrifice, every moment of self-doubt, it's all being recorded. Not a single tear you shed in private goes unnoticed by the one who sees all. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The greater the reward, the greater the trial." So if you feel like your life got harder after putting on the hijab, know that it's not a sign of failure. It's a sign that Allah is drawing you closer. You're walking the same path as the righteous women of the past, Maryam, Khadija, Fatima, all of whom were tested, but all of whom were honored by Allah in ways beyond imagination. And remember, every time you resist removing it to fit in, every time you choose modesty over fashion, every time you face discomfort with patience, your scale of good deeds rises. You're not just wearing hijab, you're wearing sabr, taqwa, and strength. You're proving with every step that your love for Allah is greater than your desire for ease. So don't give up. The world may test you, but Allah is rewarding you. And the reward isn't just in the hereafter. It's also in the peace that fills your heart when you know you're doing something purely for Him. That kind of peace, no one can take away from you. Stay firm, dear sister, because you're not just covering your head, you're protecting your soul. And every test you endure with patience is a step closer to Jannah. The world often misunderstands the hijab. They say it's a symbol of oppression, a restriction, a cage, but they don't see what you feel. Because when you put on the hijab, you don't feel chained, you feel free. You don't feel hidden, you feel protected. Hijab is not a barrier that stops you. It's a shield that guards you. It protects your dignity, your peace, and your honor in a world that constantly demands more exposure, more display, more of you, until there's nothing left to hide. But hijab draws the line. It says, "I belong to Allah, not to society's expectations." And that line, that boundary, gives you control over your own narrative. You no longer walk for attention. You walk with purpose. Your worth is no longer tied to your looks. It's rooted in your character, your values, your connection to your Creator. That's not oppression. That's empowerment of the highest kind. And yes, it takes strength. It takes courage to say no to fashion trends, to say yes to modesty, to cover up when the world tells you to reveal more. But that strength doesn't make you weak. It makes you powerful. Because you're not following the crowd. You're following the one who made you. The hijab protects not just your body, but your soul. It guards your heart from seeking validation from others. It reminds you every day, I am enough because I am obeying the one who matters most. That sense of protection. It brings peace that makeup can't give and attention can't replace. So no, you're not oppressed. You're not silenced. You are seen by Allah, honored by His angels, and covered in a way that says, I know who I am. While the world may not understand it, your soul does. Your soul knows this is freedom. Because true oppression is being a slave to people's opinions. True freedom is being a servant of Allah. When you wear the hijab for the sake of Allah, the world might not clap for you. You may not trend. You might not be called fashionable or modern. But in the unseen realm, where it truly matters, Allah is raising your status. The moment you choose modesty over display, obedience over popularity, and Allah over everything else, you are being honored. Maybe not in magazines, but in the heavens. Maybe not in front of crowds, but in the eyes of angels. Remember what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said? Whoever humbles herself for the sake of Allah, Allah will elevate her. Your decision to wear hijab is an act of humility, and in return, Allah gives you a rank the world can't even measure. You become part of a legacy of Maryam, alayha salam, of Khadijah, of Aisha, women who were not praised by the world, but deeply loved by Allah. And when He loves you, He commands the angels to love you too. What higher honor could there be? So the next time you feel overlooked or unappreciated, remember this: your reward is not written in likes or comments. It's written in the records of the Most Merciful. And that reward is eternal. You didn't lose anything by choosing Allah. You gained everything. The world teaches us that beauty is in your hair, your makeup, your outfits, the things people can see and judge. But Allah teaches us something much deeper. Real beauty begins where the world stops looking. In your heart, your intentions, your modesty, your soul. When you choose hijab, you're not hiding beauty, you're guarding it. You're saying, my worth is not for display. My value is not for approval. And that's powerful, because in a world that constantly demands you to reveal more, you choose to honor yourself by covering what Allah made sacred. And what happens then? The world may stop looking, but Allah starts elevating. He sees your struggle. He sees your sincerity. He sees the moments you feel alone, but stay firm. And for every silent sacrifice, He prepares a reward that no eye has seen and no heart can imagine. This is the real beauty. A beauty that doesn't fade with age. A beauty that isn't tied to filters or trends. A beauty that is preserved in this world and honored in the next. So, dear sister, don't let the world define your worth. Let Allah define it. And trust me, when He does, your light shines far beyond what the eyes can see. If this reminder touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more soul-stirring Islamic content that brings you closer to your purpose. Because on this journey, you're not alone. And this channel is here to walk it with you.